It's been a long year of working from home, and for a lot of people, it's looking like the home office life is going to keep going into the foreseeable future. So for this week's productivity video, I tested a service called Caveday that claims they can boost people's output and productivity while working from home. I tested the service for a week, and I'm going to give you my honest review based on my experience with them. So Caveday is an online service that offers people structured times in what they call caves. These remote caves are effectively a lot of people gathered in one Zoom call with a facilitator leading the session. And there's plenty of those sessions every single day, and they are structured into what they call sprints. And so one sprint is about 50 minutes long, and generally you seem to have the option of doing one sprint at a time or 3 sprints in a row. But there's flexibility in how you want to set that up. Sometimes it's the same instructor for 3 sprints in a row, and sometimes it changes in between sprints. So as I was signing up, my first thoughts were that the interface is really nice and easy to use. It's clearly a small company and the UX could be a little bit better, but the charm and the feeling of that warm community that you get right off the bat from the intro video of the founders more than makes up for that. On the first day, I was kind of nervous. You enter the Zoom call, you find yourself in the cave, and there's some music playing in the background, and everybody seems really nice and is chatting a little bit. And then the facilitator puts you into breakout rooms where for 2 to 3 minutes you have a chance to chat to a couple other participants to quickly tell the other people in the room what it is that you're going to be focusing on for the sprint.
Good. I'm working on planning for a meeting at 1.
Today I'm working on an agent list and preparing for a meeting that I have in an hour and a half.
It's a nice and easy way to set an intention for the next hour of work. And even though there was no direct accountability structure, even just telling somebody about what you're going to do definitely made me feel more accountable.
Amazing. Nice to meet you guys. This is my first session with Caveday, actually.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
To be honest, on the first day, being with so many people on the same Zoom call, but not really being with them, kind of put me in a weird headspace. It made me energized to be with so many different people in the room, but it also made me less focused. So to be honest, on the first day, I didn't get as much done as I usually would in an hour of work.
3, 2, 1.
But as the week went on, I became more confident with the setup and with having other people there on camera. Sometimes people turn their cameras off, and I tried that a couple times as well. But by the end of the week, I felt quite comfortable leaving my camera on. And just that feeling of being with so many amazing people from all around the continent, all from different cities and all working on different things was really inspiring. It definitely gave me a feeling of connection that I hadn't previously experienced. One thing that's really nice is that the facilitator will usually ask you to change your Zoom name to your first name and then your city and then the task you're working on. Before we move on to the next section of this review, I want to talk about the theory of monotasking because that is what Caveday is built on. And I'll put some cool B-roll over it to make this part more visually interesting. So monotasking is the opposite of multitasking, where instead of doing a whole bunch of things at once, you focused on only one task at hand. But this goes beyond simply picking one thing to do for the next 50 minutes. You have to actively block out distractions. Right now, at any given time in our surroundings, there are so many different things happening that oftentimes we don't even notice that we're multitasking. The obvious suspects are your phone, answering an email, texting, having a quick 10-second chat with your roommate or your partner. But even just a Slack notification in the corner of your screen for a split second can interrupt your flow of monotasking. The goal with monotasking really is to get to your peak performance level, where you feel like time is passing differently. The benefits of this are well documented, and there's even studies that suggest that multitasking over long periods of time will decrease our IQ. That's because as far as we currently know, there is no real way of doing parallel processing in your brain with highly active tasks. Instead, our brains will just very quickly switch back and forth between all the things that we're doing at any given time, and over long periods of time, that will reduce functionality and lower your productivity. When monotasking is done well, you get into what is called a flow state, which is described in this amazing book by the researcher Csikszentmihalyi. And this tends to work better in certain parts of the day, which is called your peak performance time, which is different for every person. So that's something to figure out over time. And that is what Caveday wants to help you with, getting into more of those flow states and blocking out more disruptions during your time working from home. And they claim that on average, people get things done up to 3 times faster when working in the cave as opposed to working regularly from home. Now, does it actually work? Like I said, in my first session for me, it definitely did not work. But let's fast forward to my final session. I was a lot more relaxed. I felt the energy of the people in the room, but only in a positive way, making me more focused and more excited to jump into the task at hand. So after a week of doing this, I have to say the service definitely works, and the idea of monotasking is a very important one. It's important no matter where you work, but especially in a home office setting where there's so many more distractions that can pop up. It's definitely something to keep in mind and to continue to work on. I think in regards to distractions, Caveday could incorporate some more steps into the routine of the sprint. Maybe encouraging to put your phones away into a different room, or gamifying it in some way or form by making people track how often they got distracted. It's hard for me to say off the top of my head what the best way would be to achieve this, but I feel like given how much they talk about monotasking on their site and how important it is, when it comes to distractions, I think they might be leaving a couple of things on the table. So when it comes to 1 to 3 stars for each of these segments, when it comes to onboarding, I will give that a 3-star. I thought it was amazing and seamless, and all in all, a very exciting experience. The UX is all right. It's not a very complicated thing to set up in the first place, so I'm not gonna give it a 1 because it works decently well, but it could be better, so a 2 stars in order here. The people are amazing. That is honestly what makes this service what it is. The community is fantastic. I felt energized, I felt excited to talk to different people, even just for 2 to 3 minutes per sprint. So a well-deserved 3 stars for the people and the community. Finally, let's talk about price. There are 3 options available, and at best, you're gonna end up paying $35 per month if you pay quarterly, and that is a lot of money. They do have a large amount of sessions each day, so if you're really gonna use it every single day, from the start of your workday to the end of your workday, it is more than worth it. I do have some links with discounts for Caveday in the description, including a whole month for just $1 and a couple of free sessions as well. The price tag definitely requires you to love this service, which is not a bad thing, but it's not necessarily something you're just gonna wanna have just in case on the side, because in that case, it would be very expensive. I'm personally not sure if I derive enough value from it, not because the service isn't good, but because I'm quite lucky to already feel quite focused in a lot of different environments, especially when working from home, because I've been doing it for a long time, even before the pandemic. But if working from home and staying focused is a real pain point for you, which if you clicked on this video, it's likely that it is, I definitely recommend giving Caveday a try. And if you try it out, of course, let me know in the comments what you thought of the service. If this was helpful, consider giving that like button a little tap. It helps me out a lot. It helps the algorithm out a lot. And since I'm still a small channel, if you can give this video a share with some friends or family that might be benefiting from a service like this, or just interested in topics of productivity, please do. It helps me out a ton as well. And with all that being said, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you real soon. Cheers.